Hey everybody, I'm back again today, working on our art journal page again. We are going to do some collage today, and I thought that we would use this same scratchy pod shape stamp to stamp onto some collage papers. I mentioned yesterday that I used my brayer cleanups to do collage, so this is just an assortment of, messy collage painty papers that I've used for cleanups along the way. And we're also going to use some map paper, which I love maps. So let's just go for it and see what we get. I'm going to use Ranger's jet black archival ink, and we're just going to stamp some of this scratchy pod shape onto some collage papers, different colors. I always like to throw in a pop of red. It's just, I guess it's a thing for me. Just a little bit of red. So let's start with that. Careful not to get your fingers on the ink pad. I do that all the time. So let's just start. So we'll do a couple in red. Hope you can see that okay. Maybe 3 in red. Always like to work in 3s. So that's 3. And then let's do some greens. Let's do a green. Let's see if we can squeeze that on. Yep, I got 2 of that bright green. And let's do kind of a medium green. This has a little bit of turquoise in it too. And then, why not do a little bit of kind of a medium cantaloupe orange. Yeah, let's do one like that too. And then I'm going to be using some map paper for the borders, so I'm going to stamp some map shaped pods or map patterned pods as well. So let's do 3 of those. So just hit those with a heat gun real quick just to make sure that the images don't smear. Oh, I had some really bright blue too. Let's do one of those. Let's do that one and that one. Grab some scissors. And I'm just going to cut these out. I'll probably pause the video at some point so you don't need to watch me cutting out paper for 5 minutes. But I'm not so we've got all these pod shapes cut out, and now I want to just kind of, I'm going to collage them over the pods that we stamped on our background, just in random areas. It emphasizes the pattern, yet gives it a little bit of kick as well, gives the pattern some life. So I'm just kind of picking some random areas for these, and once I'm happy with where they are, we will glue them down. Let's move that one over. Let's get some of that blue in there. I'm happy with that. So we have a couple left over, and that's okay. So let's go ahead and glue these down. My favorite collage medium is Ranger's Glue and Seal Matte. Hope you can see that. I have recently learned that Ranger is discontinuing Glue and Seal. I was very disappointed, but I have been told that their new matte medium will be the same as Glue and Seal. I have not gotten the new Ranger branded matte medium yet, so stay tuned for that. But for today, I have Glue and Seal, because once I figured out that it was being discontinued, I went and bought like 7 jars of it because I love it. So I'm just putting a base layer down first and putting my collage piece on top, and then going over it again with the Glue and Seal. Glue and Seal, the matte finish, it is absolutely gorgeous. It virtually disappears when it's dry. You can't even tell that it's there. So I'm just going to go through and put all these down. And some of them coordinate with the background, and some of them contrast with the background, which I like. And this is another reason why I used archival ink when I did my stamping in the background, is that I knew that I was going to be doing collage on top, and they won't bleed once they're set. So if you do a lot of wet media, archival ink is the way to go. Unless you want a blended image, which sometimes you do. In which case you could use other inks like distress inks, which bleed wonderfully. It's kind of pressing out any little air pockets as I go. Oops. Cleaning up all the little excess along the way. I've also found that this Ranger Glue and Seal, some matte mediums have a tendency to really create bubbles and wrinkles in your collage papers, and I have had the least issue with that with Glue and Seal, which is why I love it. I'm using quite a bit of pressure as I go over the collage image just to kind of encourage any air bubbles to get pressed out while I'm gluing it down. And I go over with my finger. And one more. So I'll just kind of go over one more time, make sure I've gotten all the excess off. And then we'll close this up and hit it with a heat gun. Okay, so go ahead and trim off the excess from the back. And this last piece. So these little leftover pieces you could actually bring in, use them for other pieces from the edge. You could, you know, I'll probably save these and glue them onto something else later. Now I said earlier I was going to be using some map paper for our borders, and this is the strip I'm going to start with. I found this awesome vintage atlas in an antique store not too long ago, and I love it. I think we had one growing up, and I just love maps. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tear strips off of this long paper, and we're going to create like a overlapping frame around the edges. So I'm just going to tear. So there's our 4 strips of map, and just gonna kind of put one at each edge. Let's see, do that, like that. Let's do this one on the side. Try and make sure I'm happy with it. So I'm happy with that. Can you see that? Yeah. So now I'm just going to do the same thing with the glue and seal. And put that in some water. And dry it with a heat tool.